Is anyone
People.
here? Yeah.
There are.
Starting the stream. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
This good afternoon and or whatever. This is OotiniCast episode 272. Remember, this is an audio podcast, so this is the raw version where we swear and etc. and I clean it up later.
And I just have water this time.
Yes, Buse is not in the house, so we're hoping this episode will be positive, full of light. There may even be some rainbows and unicorns. Maybe even, yeah, well, you never know. But we've got Alex here to keep us positive. And not that we aren't positive anyway, but it's easy to go down the dark side is the easy path after all. So we must strive to stay on the path of the light. Anyway, I'll stop rambling in a second. Everyone's still recording. Alex, confirm?
Yep, I can confirm that I am recording.
Thank you.
And
Chill.
it's all working.
I am recording.
And the other guy.
Recording.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. Let's.
Quick question before we start. I don't see the update for the light dark meter anywhere. Is that in? Are we going to talk about that?
I did look at it. In fact, the way they actually did it is they edit the HTML directly to move that little arrow, which I found quite amusing. But yeah, it was still the same as yesterday or last week. I thought. Yeah, it's 51.6, 48.4.
That means we're in the lead.
Oh, you should mess with people, Tio. Just edit the HTML yourself and take
Yeah,
it
well.
on your end, and then post it out on Twitter and say, "Look, Dark is winning 90."
Could, maybe, but I'm all about truth and honesty and stuff. So
Yeah, you can still mess with people on Twitter.
you're a very bad man.
Yeah.
All right, I'll just take a copy of it and just mention it. Let me just check last week, just so I can be sure. What was last week? 271.
Teo Sith Kitty can hear everyone but
Oh.
you, apparently.
All right, could you tell them I'm about to stop the stream, please?
Okay.
You can say it out loud if you want.
Teo will restart the stream.
Thank you. Stopping the stream. So something. All right, I'll say this in a second. Audio. Desktop audio device is.
God, my webcam is terrible.
Oh, yeah. We did want to
Old.
say.
What you're fixing?
All right.
Okay.
Starting the stream again. Now, can they confirm that they can hear us? What a shame they missed it. What I was saying, which wasn't much.
Okay, Dekion can hear you, but no word from Sith Kitty
Yeah,
yet.
also that was really quick, so I think he might be listening on the other thing.
Yeah, if you can hear me
YouTube
on
or
the
whatever.
Twitch stream, that's what we want to know.
Right.
Twitch stream.
Sith can
Thank
hear
you.
you now.
Thank you,
All
Sith
right.
Kitty. Much appreciated.
Good.
And sorry about that. I just updated to the Windows 10 Anniversary Edition, which is just a free update for everyone, obviously. And besides the fact it took forever, well, half an hour, forever, it looks like it reset the defaults for Twitch, but everything else was okay.
Huh.
So that's all right. All right, so that's okay. That's working. FDOTK. No, I'm gonna
Are we
do
good to
the
go?
one. Maybe. Just a second.
Yep, Koozy's back.
Did I tweet? I have now. No. Shit. I tweeted it myself. Let me just fix it. Oh, fucking Jesus. Back up, very sorry. Yes, anyway. Ooh, it got messed up anyway. Let me just delete that. Delete tweet. Okay. Alright, let me try that again. Sorry, chill. I'm not deliberately prolonging this, but...
No worries. My favorite Australianism.
Which part?
No worries.
Ah, yeah. It was...
Best
Alright.
one.
It's a good one.
Alright, I've tweeted, and I will be recording, so chill, let's rock.
Going in 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast, the podcast that got angry with its last protocol droid and disintegrated him. This is episode 272, being recorded on Thursday, August 4th, 2016. I'm your host, Chill, with our producer and co-host, Tio. Hi, Tio.
Hey, guys.
And our guests today are Alex from the Geek Podcast and Kuze. So, Alex, how you been? What you been up to?
Well, I've been pretty good. I've been doing the DVL event. That's all I've really been doing in-game. So, last time I was on, I talked about my fantastic character, Totterina, who was a female Chiss Guardian, who I took all the way through to 65 and did all the story content that I had to do for the event, and I really enjoyed it. When I say I did all the story content, though, I basically stopped after Chapter 1 of the actual class story, because the class story, because my levels were so far ahead. I was on level 50 by that point, and I was like, you know what? I'll just do those flashpoints and get to what's it called? Shadow of Revan. And then I did that, and Shadow of Revan, while I do enjoy the story, the flashpoints are a pain to do again and again and again and again. I can't imagine trying to get those. You know how in the hard mode achievements you can do them like 25 times to get an achievement?
Yes, 25.
I could never do that. And
We got some of
congratulations.
those, actually.
Yeah, that's crazy. Congratulations to anyone who's just 100% at that.
Yes.
But I've got to as high of a tier in the DVL event that you can get at the moment, because the next one is locked by the last chapter of Coffee. But
Yes.
overall, it's kind of slow now. It's like grabbing me less and less, and I don't know how successful it's been at keeping my attention. I keep getting distracted and going off to play other games, like mostly Civilization 5, which is a strategy game, and it's really, really fun. But
Alex.
I still come back, and I've started my Imperial character, because you have to have one of each to get level 5, I think, and that's the one with the companion. So I definitely want to get that if I can't get the last one, which I'm starting to think is a little impossible. But who knows?
Why impossible?
So, well, I don't know. My school starts again soon, and then I don't know when everyone raids, and there are those raiding, you have to do 5 bosses, I think.
Yeah.
And then there's all the
5
hard mode
different raids,
achievements. Yeah, in 5 completely different raids, and I don't know how many sessions that will take, because I don't know. I haven't done enough research to find out where each boss is in the raid. That could be like the 3rd boss, the last boss, and that would just
vary,
take
actually.
a long time.
Well, our Utini friends in the Utini guilds are certainly organising that on the night side. So
Yeah, so I should probably pay attention to that to see if I can get,
timing
get
may
everything
be
done.
problematic, but we'll see.
Yeah. Oh well, I'll do my best to get as far as I can in the event. So my Sith side character, I decided to go with a Juggernaut, the Mirror of a Guardian, because I already had a Marauder, who I think I talked about the first time I was on this show.
Sure.
And that's right, yeah. So basically, it's a female pure blood Sith, because I've never had one of those before, and her name is Gilbertina, named after a rugby ball I found lying around in my house. So, yeah.
Sure.
It's like the Tom Hanks way of naming things. Yeah.
Yeah. The rugby ball, I picked it up and said Gilbert on it. I was like, that's a fantastic name. And I put it in. I love naming characters. It's the best part. And so yeah, I was having a lot of fun with her. She's light side, so it's a bit weird to be like, no, I'm not going to kill you. And it's so weird on the Imperial side to be light side, but I really want that Chiss companion, so it's worth it.
Well, if your characters were able to visit the United States, they would probably have a hard time knowing which bathroom to use, with all the controversy going on over here.
Probably. So the armor set, I've attached a photo. So if you're interested in the armor set, it's Darth Sion's armor from, I think it was KOTOR 2. Some guy came up and he just started a trade and with the chestplate for like crazy low price, only 20,000. I was like, okay. I bought it, and I bought the rest of the outfit and got a sweet blue crystal. And yeah,
Looks
she
good.
looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with the way she looks, and the story's really cool. I love Darth Barris, the master, The guy, he's got this one great
yeah.
quote
That's
where
fun.
he's trying to torture some guy, and you're like, I can feel your anger, master. And he's like, a blind, deaf, comatose lobotomy patient could feel my anger. It's the best line in the game. So out of SWTOR, I recently got my tickets for Star Wars Celebration 2017, and I'm really
Hey.
looking forward to meeting everyone there who's going. So, yay!
Cool.
I'm very excited about that.
Which is pretty
And
much
I
all of
really,
us. Yep.
yeah, I really hope Charles Boyd is there from the SWTOR team, because I met him at San Diego Comic-Con in 2015, and that was probably one of the highlights of it, because he's really nice and fun to talk to, and I spent like over an hour talking to him and a bunch of people at the Canteen event.
Cool.
I'd like to catch up with him and talk to him a bit more about Kotfi and Kotet. Is that how we're pronouncing it? Yeah,
I think so.
Whatever.
Yes.
That'll do.
Yeah. And finally, I just want to recommend everyone go watch Stranger Things. It's a great show. Like, it's fantastic on Netflix. It's
Okay.
We
sci-fi
actually
horror. It's sci-fi horror, and it's great. Go watch it.
Yes, Ari and I watched through that on the weekend, actually, all 8 episodes. It is just a single, well, at least for now, a single season.
Okay.
Yes, I absolutely can second Alex's recommendation.
Yeah.
Really hooked me.
I-
And I'm not
I'm
used
only-
into horror, so
Yeah,
That's
me
what I've
neither.
been hearing from everybody. Yeah, we have it in queue to watch. We haven't done it yet.
All right. And
Excellent.
that's been me.
All right, Kuze, your week.
So first off, thanks to Alex, he reminded me about Star Wars Celebration just after the show last week. I got jumped on because the internet was down beforehand. I jumped on and bought tickets for Saturday myself, and also booked hotel reservations in advance too, because I'm sure all the hotels are going to be booked up. So that's probably something else people might want to do, is go ahead and book their hotel room in advance. Last show, I feel a little sorry for T.O. He had to edit so much because of my drunken philosophy. It kind of reminded me, when I was thinking back about it, kind of reminds me of that show on the Comedy Channel, but not as funny. What is it, Drunken History, where they get somebody really smashed and tell them to tell a historical story. So that was pretty in game, I really haven't been doing too much. Just some more of the GTN stuff, trying to sell all the rare stuff that I had from previous packs a long time ago. I'm up to 15.5 million, so we're around 3 million from last week.
Wow.
Things just don't seem to be selling as well as they used to. Prices are good and they're high, but there's not a lot of buyers, it doesn't seem like. At least on the deco side, I think everybody's too concerned about maybe, DVL to worry about decorating their strongholds, and
Right.
I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's selling very well, deco side, anyways. And before, that's where I would always make a lot of my money, is with the deco side of the packs. I also decided to go through my achievements and see which ones I didn't have up to 999, and I started doing the massive clicking to add all those to your inventory. There's some from Zyos. There's all the class circle signs that you get for when you complete your class. I actually went back to Rishi and picked up however many I didn't have. There was 999 meat trees I had to click on because I think I only had a couple. So I bought 999 meat trees because they're only a credit a piece. I went and did that. Obtained a few more armor sets. Oh, yes, and I unlocked the last 2 pieces of storage. So some of my characters, so in the past, people used to sell the account-wide bank unlock and legacy unlocks on the GTN, and they were normally, they were decently priced, nothing too crazy. So I looked on the GTN this time for one, and they're like, I don't know how many, 10 million or more for just one account-wide unlock. So I decided to go ahead and spend some of those cartel coins that I had stacked up while I was gone, and went ahead and purchased some account-wide for my legacy bank and for my regular bank. So everything's maxed up to 6 full tabs. So that's good. As you might be able to tell if you're watching the video, I went out and purchased some new recording equipment, not just for the show, but for some other things that I'm going to do. That was another thing. Last show, if you heard, it was kind of echoey because of some internet issues that I had prior. I think it was running through my cam instead of my normal mic. So hopefully it's going to be really good this time. So
Excellent.
I'm excited about that. Yeah, I spent some time setting it up, watching some videos on getting the gains and everything right. So it should be sounding good. That's been my
Nice.
week.
All right, Tio, how about your week?
Well, I completely failed to play again this week. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know this is getting fairly
The daughter
repetitive.
and your job are just killing your game time.
Yes, and travelling, and I'm travelling again next week down to Adelaide again. And I may not have mentioned, but I'm actually doing some postgraduate study. You know, just
Oh, you
because
haven't
I've
mentioned
got
that.
so much spare time, and
Wow. Wait, in what specifically?
engineering specifically, just expanding my repertoire. So
Computer engineering?
more general engineering, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Gonna build some
it's,
bridges?
really, well, more the project management aspects of it and that kind of thing. There's a lot of general principles anyway. As a software engineer, this is more real engineering. So yeah, it's really, really, really interesting. So I'm really glad I did it, but I was time poor before, so I'm really questioning my sanity in making this choice. But oh well.
But yeah,
Anyway.
it's not like anything else is going to come along and make you even busier, right? Couldn't possibly happen. That's not the way life works, is it?
We'll talk about that later. Anyway, so nothing to report. I really hope I'll get time to play at some point. Is
That
all I
sounds
can
good.
say. I'm not playing any games. That's just it.
Right,
Okay.
right. It's
Not
not
even
like you're.
phone games. It's terrible. So
Oh wow.
yeah. Anyway, that's my week.
Okay. First, a shout out to the chat room. Darth Arrow is here, Dekion, Captain and GM, Drunken Darkside Podcast, Ghana, Galactic Elite, Grimulf, Hawk, 53051, Jaggedfell, Karanos, Lobbit, 1980, Alex is here as Mix Up Pixels, Moralen, Nicodemuzl, I think it is pronounced, I don't know, Rainstry, Kuze is here as Ro_Kuze, Siskaika, Sith Kitty, Stavis, and Tommy McD28. I think that's everyone. It's everyone that's showing anyway. So, hello everyone. And I got lots of streaming this week done. Almost all of it on, no, I think pretty much all of it on Chill Satan. I got him all the way to Belsavis. So he's in Act 3 now. Still having a ball, and I had to get rid of the Priapism outfit because it was bugging out the cutscenes in these really weird ways. And here's a screenshot, and you can see when my character is walking, what it's doing is making the front part of his armor go over to where I'm going to walk,
Yeah.
all the way across the room, and then I walk up to it.
Wow. Well, I guess that's intimidating.
It was, oh yes, it was very aggressive. But it was so weird. It was so over the top that it wasn't even working for me in a Satan-y sort of way. So I did get a different outfit, and you'll see it on the screenshots later. And that it's pretty cool too. Actually, it's pretty nice. And something I noticed this week is that there's a lot of lines in the game that are kind of mildly amusing. They're sort of designed to be mildly amusing just for regular Sith to say, but they're actually much funnier when Satan is saying them. For example, I am not cute, I am deadly. And my favorite thing for Satan to say instead of a regular Sith is, I found that whole exchange deeply disturbing. So I'm having a lot of fun with him. He is, like I say, on Belsavis, Act 3, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. So I'm just enjoying that character a lot. And so that's about it. We'll go to the tip of the week. We've got, well, exactly one tip this week, so we'll be rolling a round coin this week, that's for sure. It's from Exactor of the Old Republic Dads Guild on the Shadowlands. Exactor writes, not exactly a tip, but something of a reminder for your dark versus light character if you unlock the 8 encrypted data cubes in your account, or any number less than that. 4 of them are from Archon's contraband packs, and 4 of them are from Supreme Mogul's contraband packs. Using them allows you to add 8 more major XP boosts or Valor boosts. Combined with the XP boosts after completing your class tiers, you should have endless amounts of XP to power you through the leveling grind.
Well, I suppose you only need to get up to level 50 for all of the classes for the DVL event, so getting fast XP is not a bad thing. In fact, any way you can do it just to hit level 50, you're good, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I do have the 3-piece set on Satan because I did Santa first, and between that and none of the Cantina packs had XP boost this time. But I am just using the one. I used the one that came. I can't remember what it came with, but there's something that
Coffee.
automatically sends it.
Would have been
I guess it was coffee, yeah. And then the ones I'm getting as act finishers and then planet finishers. And I still have several in my inventory, so it's all good. But yeah, if you do find that you need more, then yes, that you can go back to those old encrypted data cubes. All right, thanks, Exactor. And Exactor also writes, thanks for the great podcast. Always look forward to hearing from both of your takes on the game. P.S. In line with the how many hours have you played, how about how much mail do you get when starting a new character? My number is 62 in-game mail messages.
It's just crazy. It really is crazy.
Yeah, I think I said on my stream, but I can't remember. It's higher than that, I'm pretty sure. It's getting to the point where I only have a couple of rows left when I open up my mail. It's crazy. So
First thing
obviously,
I do is select all the mail, remove all the attachments, then delete all the mail. That's
yep.
just
Yeah,
what
none
you
of them
do.
have anything interesting to say, so you just go ahead and
Yes.
delete them once you've got the
Absolutely.
All right, and let's see. The winner is Exactor, of course, and congratulations, you're the winner of a Tonfon or M83R droid pet code, courtesy of BioWare, and an OotiniCast provided cartel market pack from the latest shipment. And if you'd like a chance to win the same, please send your tips to OotiniCast@gmail.com by next Wednesday. And that will bring us to the holo feed, Tio.
That was a pregnant pause. All right, so we actually have a few things to talk about this week. Firstly, the obvious game update 4.7 is coming next week. And with it is the Gus Tuno recruitment mission. So our favourite wannabe Jedi, using his force magic to heal you, etc., etc.,
Love him.
will be joining us. You'll be able to get him
Nice.
as the recruitment mission will become available on August 9th with Game Update 4.7. Now, of course, Chapter 16 is also going to be here, and that will go live for anyone who is subscribed on the 1st of July. Not the 1st of August, 1st of July to get early access. Otherwise, you've got to wait until Thursday, the 11th of August, for Chapter 16, The Battle of Odessen, and the finale of Knights of the Fallen Empire. Now, they have actually scheduled the maintenance, just 4 hours next Tuesday. Nothing non-standard about that. And just worth mentioning that leading up to 4.7 this week, Conquests kind of didn't start.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weirdly broken. Yeah, you go to it and it's just kind of empty.
Yeah. There was some speculation that said something to do with the fact that they had pushed out the Game Update 4.7 by a couple of weeks, and so they kind of screwed up their schedule. Who knows? But yeah, it's not working. And also, there's no priority operation this week. You know, the operation which they randomly pick, and if you do it, you get the Nightmare level gear. Yeah, not so much this week.
Good.
So, anyway, all will apparently be addressed with Game Update 4.7 next week. Now, this is a personal quandary of mine. I just checked my subscription, and I have exactly 3 days left before it auto-renews. Now, normally, I get a 6-month subscription. I have ever since the game came out, and I've never been unsubbed. But I really am facing the question, what do I do? Now, obviously, I do have to be subscribed on August 9th, so I can actually get into the new chapter. So I can sub for another month, another 30 days. But
Right.
should I subscribe beyond that? I honestly don't know, because I'm not playing enough to actually make it worthwhile. I wouldn't actually lose
Right.
anything since there
Except
won't
the
be any more chapters to
HK55.
release.
Well, in the HK55 chapter.
I'm glad you mentioned that. To get access to the HK55 chapter, you have to have been subscribed all the way through from January 11th to August the 1st. So as long as you are subscribed during that period, you will get access to the player's HK55 chapter. So, in theory,
I thought
At
they
least for
had
the
mentioned that since they delayed Chapter 16, if you were subscribed by, I forgot what the date was, that you were going to go ahead and get Chapter 16 no matter what. So if your sub runs out before then,
you're probably
because it wasn't
okay.
out on time, and they said they would go ahead, if if you were subbed during the normal time, you would still get the chapter.
I believe Yakuza is correct. So, yeah, I could let my sub lapse now, and I still get everything. So, now, what I'm assuming will happen is there is a live stream on August the 11th, this, when we're recording next week, in fact, so we'll be able to talk about it on next week's show, where they're going to be talking about, firstly, Season 7, Ranked PvP Rewards, and what else did they say? They did say something else. And we'll be getting a first look at the HK 55 bonus chapter that we're just talking about, so that's on the live stream. I'm betting reasonably confidently that they're going to announce some kind of initiative whereby if you remain subscribed between now and the release of Kotet towards the end of the year, you'll get X, probably Y and Z, and several other things as well.
Right.
So there will be an incentive provided, so this decision will be taken away from me. I may just change my sub just to monthly, just until I see. But yeah, I mean, why stay subscribed if I just don't have time to really play and there's no other reason to...
I suppose, yeah.
I can do anything I want as preferred, including the DVL event. So...
More or less, yeah.
More or less, yeah. And I could always just re-up at any time, so it's no big deal.
Yeah, I still haven't subbed back myself. I've kind of been pondering that same thing myself. If I want to sub back to the game, because there's still a lot of stuff that I can do before I have to sub. I haven't since I finished all the way through Chapter 9, which they gate for everything now. So now everybody has to do all the way through Chapter 9 if they want to do the new stuff. Like what's the Eternal Championship you have to do through Chapter 9, which adds to their metrics for, people love story. Well, if I just love, Eternal Championship and I want to fight in that, I have to go complete this to get to that. So it's gated behind there. So I can go do that. So I still want to do that. I haven't done that yet. And PvP is how many, you can do a couple matches in that a week too. So
5.
I haven't gotten to that point yet. But once Chapter 16 comes out, and maybe I'll sub for 1 month just to complete everything and see how it wraps up.
Right.
Well,
Teal,
Bill
does it-
646 and Galactic Elite both remind me just how little $15 per month actually is. So,
True. Does it
That's
affect
true,
you?
but-
Would it affect you as the guild master at all?
yeah, probably, which is what Dekion also mentioned. So, alright, maybe they've scratched that idea. I'll just leave it and re-sub.
Oh.
It was interesting to speculate about, as
Right.
because he was saying, preferred isn't that bad. So,
Well, I mean, just
Yeah.
because you can afford something doesn't mean that you have to buy it
Well,
or need to buy it.
and there's other ways to save money too. On the way home today, in fact, I got on the line with my cable subscriber and I unsubscribed from most of my TV channels, and I kept basically the internet as the main thing that I get from them. So, and that's going to save me close to $100 a month.
Jesus
So,
Christ.
A lot of people
Yeah,
haven't
those
been doing
cable
that.
channels that
yeah, they
provide
add up
is
fast.
terrible. Yeah.
I mean, and that's I could have 6 Photor subs, going instead. Now that
around
I've saved that
150
much
for-
money, it's crazy. So
Paying around $150 for DirecTV, so that would be a nice
yeah,
chunk back in my pocket.
Yeah, Bill 646, I should do a similar calculation. It would actually put into perspective, he said, just how much of the sub costs with respect to its monthly pay packet. So yes, again, if you put it into perspective, yeah.
yeah. On a different thing related to this, I'm looking at the old ad from the HK 55 bonus chapter. And it says be a subscriber from January 11th to August 1st, as we were talking about. Then it says release date to be announced in February. Is that true? Did they actually announce it, though? I don't think they announced it in February
They
or
never-
at any
well,
time, have they?
No,
No.
not as far as I've heard. But let me
Okay.
check the page.
They must have been,
All an
optimistic. That was a very optimistic note, then. Because
Maybe
So
it
we
had
should
some.
incite riot because they promised us something and didn't give it to us, so we can just go flood Reddit and everywhere else.
Wow,
Maybe-
all these HK-inspired weapons and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe delaying it or not announcing it had something to do with all the backlash it had to everything being HK themed,
I
because
don't
they
know.
kind of overblew HK55, a character we love, and just kind of overexposed us to him. So maybe they just thought if we leave it, they'll
Maybe.
kind of forget about it, and then we can surprise them again.
my guess is that they just realized this is more than 6 months out. We shouldn't be announcing it quite this far ahead of time. That's my guess. But
Yes. They really should change that because it's still on the Fallen Empire page right now. So
is it? You just pulled it off the other day. Oops.
Yep. Now, Hawk did
Paging
ask,
Dr. Musco, paging Dr. Musco.
Hawk asked, and this is something that Alex asked about as well, I believe. What happens if you were unsubbed for whatever reason during the HK period? And you'll have to wait and see, but if it was only a couple of days, as happened in his case, and Alex's wasn't that long either, you should be okay. And if you're not, contact support and they'll probably fix it for you. I suspect it was just on the first of the month, if that's when it would tick over. As in, you have to be on each first of the month subscribed. You should be okay. If you weren't subscribed on one of those first of the month, that could be a problem. But again, they probably fix it on a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
All right. Where were we? Just make sure I didn't miss anything on that. Yep, talked about all that. All right, next, let's talk about SWTOR 5, the anniversary year, 5th anniversary year of Star Wars The Old Republic, with the actual anniversary at the end of the year, somewhere around 20 December-ish. Now, you may recall that when they first announced it, they said they would be having a monthly cartel market sale. 5 months, 5 total items, 55% off. Anyway, first one has been announced. It is the Zakul personal dropship, a speeder, and it is on sale right now from 2nd of August all the way through to the 9th. So last Tuesday to next Tuesday when 4.7 comes out. So 55% off, and I don't know how much it costs because I didn't check.
Yeah, usually the speeders tend to be, the special speeders tend to be like in the 1500 range.
Yeah.
Let's see if anyone actually can tell us. Well, not that it matters. 55% off. Get yours now.
Okay.
So that's the first of 5 sales, and they'll just be doing that. And also a reminder, there is that ongoing collage project where they're going to make a collage out of headshots of all of our characters. So, don't know again exactly the resolution of each individual element of that collage. But so when you send it in, they want 1900 by 1080 screenshots. You email it to swotorsubmissions@swotor.com. All the details are on the swotor.com/swotor5 page. Just email the screenshot to them.
And I suppose you could either make one now, but you could also just look through your old ones. Because I often turn off my UI and take a screenshot that looks very much like what they're looking for. Waist up, high res, no UI, default pose. Cool.
I have a lot of screenshots of bugs and stuff where my character's clipped out or whatever else. Do you think they'll take one of those? Or does it have to be? Does it have to be a nice screenshot?
Now,
I don't think I'll be sending my priapism one to them. So.
I got the old one from the old space missions where my 2 characters are standing on top of the ship, outside of the ship.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, they won't use that one. Now, on Twitter, on the SWTOR account, they said it's the week of the 5th, so the 5th of each month, it looks like. That means SWTOR 5 giveaways. Share your 5 favourite SWTOR characters, and we'll select 5 random 450 cartel coin winners. So just giving away 5 codes. So that's kind of cool. So just keep an eye on the Twitter account if you're into that for SWTOR. There may be other giveaways and things like that. Alright, now next, also coming with Game Update 4.7. This is probably the big news because I sure as hell didn't see this coming. Because we know you love packs, they have created a new Cartel pack opening experience. And, well, it's technically, I gotta say, it's pretty impressive. So let's just talk about how it works. Firstly, and this is probably most important, Cartel packs will now stack in your inventory. So no longer will they take up room, they will actually stack. Doesn't say up to how many, probably 9,999 like everything else now, if you've bought that many packs. But anyway, there is a new interface element called a pack viewer. Now what the pack viewer does is when you bring it up, it will show you in a list on the left hand side all of the cartel packs that you currently have in your inventory. Just in your inventory. It says nothing about cargo bays or anything like that. So any packs in your inventory. It will show them stacked. Like if you've got a whole bunch of Gemini packs, You'll see that with little numbers saying how many there are, the stack. And on the right-hand side, when you highlight it, you get an open pack button and a little gold number showing how many packs you've got underneath it. All very impressive. Now, when you actually click Open Pack, this is the new experience where they actually give you a viewer where you can see the various components that are in the pack veiled. You then click on them to unveil them, and whatever it is revealed, whatever the item is. So, at that point, once it's been unveiled, it is then added into the other element of the UI they have created called the item stash. Now, your item stash can hold up to 250 unique items. So if you get a whole bunch of the same thing, it will only take up one slot in your item stash out of the 250, and that will stack as many as you actually have. And the really cool thing is the item stash is legacy-wide, which means you can open an item from a pack into your item stash, and then switch characters on the same server, obviously, within the same legacy, and then you can pull it out into your inventory. Now,
that's cool.
The bind timer is still there, and it doesn't actually start ticking until you actually pull it into your inventory.
Okay.
So
that's still way better because you can, at least as far as actually using it inside your legacy.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Now, when you pull it out, you can actually just pull and... You can pull a single item from the item stash into your inventory or a whole stack, and if you pull a whole stack, it will remain stacked in your inventory.
Okay.
And the stash can actually be sorted, so while it's in your stash, you can filter it by type, such as armor, mount, or whatever. You can sort it by name, quality, rarity, quantity, or whether it's just new, so the order in which you open them. Yeah, so it's really fancy. It's like additional storage for cartel pack items only.
Right.
Well, with one exception, the question was asked, will the contents of DVL bound packs, that is ones you get for the various tiers of the DVL event as opposed to the DVL packs you actually buy, do they go into the legacy stash? And the answer is yes, they will, but they won't go in retroactively. So if you've already opened them, they're in your inventory.
I knew
now.
I should have waited.
But if you get them now, they will be included in this. So the packs themselves do take up room, but they do stack in your inventory. But when you open the items from the DVL packs, even the bound ones, they will go into the item stash.
I'll hold on to them for now then, because before I was on stream, so I was opening it just because it's fun to do it on the stream. And because they were bound, it was like, well, I can't do anything with them but open them on these characters that I'm going to probably drop after DVL's over.
But
now...
Yes,
I can go over to my main character and open them on that character, and it's all good.
Now, you may recall they did say they were looking at how to deal with the fact that these packs were bound, and thus the items that you pull out were character bound. If you recall, that was an issue, because unlike a regular cartel pack, where the items can actually be moved around because they're bind or equip, these ones were actually bound to the character. This is the solution. Quite a nice
That's
one,
cool.
too. Yeah.
All right.
So,
I like this. I like that. I like that a lot. I mean, just as far as legacy and where the items are, that's going to be much better. So,
it's a really cool change. I think it'll make pack opening videos interesting. I'm interested to see how Kranitoko takes this.
Yes,
he's great for Kranitoko. He's pretty much the only one. I mean, I guess some other people might do some pack opening videos. Kranitoko's really the only one I know about. So, I mean, it'll make one person happy for pack opening videos.
Yeah. Because I know he runs into problems with like keeping it all in his inventory. But yeah, the one thing I'm wondering is, do droid parts, like the scrap parts, do they go into the item stash too? Because they're not cartel market items, are they?
It's hard to say. They do show up on. You can see them on the screenshot that that they are still part of the packs. It's not like that changes. I suppose even if they go into the item stash, you can always pull them out.
Yeah, they would stack up. And they say all of the items you receive will be placed in your item stash. So Alex,
Apparently.
it looks like. I guess we'll find
Yeah.
out for sure.
I guess that actually might be a good thing. I mean, it just saves the extra trip to the cargo hold to go grab them if you want to buy something. You just pull it out of your pack viewer. So yeah, overall, I think this is a really cool change, and I can't wait to open the 2 packs I can afford to buy a month. Yay!
Yeah, it's a technical thing. It's really nice quality of life feature, basically, particularly if you spend lots of cartel coins. You could question whether should they have spent all this development effort on this particular piece of UI. I mean, there's a certain amount of work that went into this, but who's for us to judge? It's clearly a big source of income for them, so they do want to support that aspect of the game.
So I'm going to take this in 2 parts because I guess not necessarily my initial, well, I'll say my initial thoughts was along the lines of what you just talked about. And also, I saw the tweet pop up on Twitter, or, right when they sent it out. I was only a few seconds behind when they posted it. And actually, probably a couple minutes, because I went in there and I looked at the comments, and it was horrible. I could not believe. Sometimes I feel a little sorry for them. I'm sure that somebody worked on this, and they're proud of the work that they did, and they're like, yeah, let's show these guys, we got some exciting stuff coming out, and as soon as they put something out, they just get slammed. It was pretty bad because of what you were saying. They felt like people were, on Reddit and other places, people felt like there could have been a lot more other things in game done before this got introduced.
We are just talking about an interface element here, so this is not anywhere near the same scale as a Flashpoint or something like that. So it's not like they could have done that instead.
Right. But that was people's initial impressions is, wow,
Sure.
here's something new, but I still have all this broken stuff that's not fixed. People's guild flagships are still not showing up and a lot of other things. So, again, that's not necessarily right or wrong. It was just some people's first impressions in seeing this. I know Bill wanted something like this a long time ago because he was, buying and trading and selling cartel pack items on the market, and he also wanted to be able to stack items up to a certain amount, which you can get now. So Bill would probably be one happy guy now because his inventory is filling up before, and he told people at the SWTOR cantinas, BioWare, he said, "Hey, look, if I had more storage, I would probably buy more packs." And he just ran out, so he couldn't buy any more packs. So this is a good answer for somebody like Bill. And again, taking it in 2 parts. So the first thing is just looking at it, and the streamlining that it provides somebody is great. It's beautiful. The ability to stash items is beneficial because it doesn't take up inventory space, but it really doesn't. It's not a huge game changer in my opinion, because I opened up a bunch of packs, if I wanted to trade it to my other tune, it was a hassle to leave it in your bank for you had to wait for a couple of days to day and a half or whatever to cycle down, and then you can transfer it over. But it was still movable. I could still move it between my characters and everything else. So really, it just seems like a glorified inventory management system for cartel items. So people have more room to buy more cartel packs to put it in there. I was speculating before the show started that maybe they had this already in the works a while ago, something they were working on the side. And then when the DVL stuff came out, they saw that there was issues, and they decided to bring this back in and finish it and put it out. So maybe they had already had most of the work done beforehand, and they just finished it up. I mean, that could have happened, or maybe they did it just to answer the DVL and also to help out with the car. I mean, I don't know what their driving force was to make this. But, I mean, it could be a variation of...
I'm sure
As
it's
I
something
said,
they've been working on a while.
Yeah,
Just
but as
feels
I
like
said,
that sort of thing.
this is a solution to getting the banned items out of the DVL packs. And I suspect even if this had been considered for a while, that would have been the motivation. So this allows you to spread the items from the DVL packs, the banned ones, across your legacy. That was a problem they had. This solves it perfectly.
So how long do you think that they've been sitting on this?
No
Do
idea.
you think that they would have been able to announce this at the last cantina, or teased it out, say, "Hey, look, we got this new cartel pack management system coming for you," or whatever else?
It's not content; it's pure quality of life. So,
But
Is it even worth an
It's
announcement?
still a user interface. It's something added to the game. It's something. Look how it sparkles, To. I mean, they should. If they're going to take the time to do this, then they should promote it and send it out. It's something to give out to the community instead of just, oh, here we did this. Here it is.
No one is
You know?
going to subscribe to SWOTOR because they have added this particular piece of UI, I suspect.
No, but that's not at the Star Wars Celebration, but at a cantina. People at cantinas are already players, so that's a little
Sure.
bit of side information for them that they could have gave.
Yeah, I guess the timing didn't work out.
Yeah.
And they're not announcing anything unless it's fully baked and ready to roll.
Evidently.
All right, let us move on. Only one more thing to cover in the news. This week, Electronic Arts held their Q1 financial year 2017, which is the last quarter basically, earnings call where they talked through their financial performance. Now, we won't know the full details until they put in their Form 10S, which is like the quarterly version of the 10K. At least I think that's what it is, whatever you Yanks do. For businesses. And SWOTOR was, well, let's just say it wasn't mentioned. It appeared, as it always does, on their slide, which shows active console/PC titles. That's it. They did mention a whole lot of other games that were like the selected operating highlights and metrics that showed the big performance. And SWOTOR had appeared previously in previous quarters, but this time, no mention at all. What does that mean? It means either it's more or less stayed the same, or it's breaking even, or it's gone down, and they don't put in bad news in this one. In the quarterly report, you will find it. So in a few days, when it comes out, we'll get some more information. So at the moment, we have zero information to go on as far as how SWOTOR is going. Hopefully, it will get a bump with Knights of the Eternal Throne as things ramp up to that. Certainly, once that Blur trailer, which apparently they're making, comes out, that will certainly uplift things. I had a long discussion with Galactic Elite about this, and again, we just don't know. This doesn't mean anything good or bad either way. We're just going to have to find out. It's worth noting that subscription revenue, which is where SWOTOR is included, quarter on quarter, just compared to 2016, 2015, it's up for sure compared to the last matching quarter, but year on year, it's actually down 1% from 2016 at this point. So compared to the previous year, it's actually down a bit. Again, there's a whole lot of games that go into their subscription revenue, so it doesn't mean anything. So, in other words, there's really nothing to report here besides the fact that clearly SWOTOR do something outstanding enough to get a special mention.
Yeah,
That's
and
all
I'm
we can
sure
say.
that SWOTOR is both under subs, but also under extra content. I mean, every time you buy cartel coins, that's not subscription. That's extra
They
content.
should have released it. They should have released a new pack opening UI a long time ago. They would have
All right, outside of SWOTOR, we do have a little bit of news on the BioWare forums. That is, every forum that BioWare supports for games such as Dragon Age and Mass Effect and the legacy titles and the rest, they're all being closed, except for SWOTOR's. So Star Wars The Old Republic's forums will be the only ones left open. All the rest have been closed. The reason given is basically they can convey the same information that they could otherwise via events such as PAX and San Diego Comic-Con, that kind of thing. And people have got
Social
together on
media.
their own communities on Reddit and Tumblr and whatever, and so they don't need the forums anymore. So they're closing
and
them
they
down.
just throw their info out on the social media and they're good to go. Yeah.
Yep.
But I guess they decided MMOs are a little kind of a different beast, a little more complex, a little, they have more staying power. There's more stuff that happens over time, so they decided to keep the SWOTOR ones.
Interesting. We'll see how long that lasts, because forum communities do tend to be a little bit toxic. It's just the nature of the beast, it seems. And yeah. Anyway, for those BioWare forums, they will actually be completely removed as of October 25th. And from August 26th, they'll actually just go read-only. So you've got at least a few months. If there's anything on there where you want to grab and take a copy of, you can, but after that, October 25th, they're gone. Just deleted.
Okay.
Erased from existence. And that's the news. Oh, sorry, let me do community. And let's just also do a little community news. Firstly, thanks to our latest Utini patrons, Pyrochenko, who won last week of the Tip of the Week. He is of the Shock and Jawa Guild on the Harbinger. And also Ergus of our own Utini Knights. Thank you, guys, for joining our Utini patrons. You can find out more about what all that's about on patreon.com/UtiniCast. Also, we wanted to mention that Daniel's survey, which Daniel's been on the show, talked about his academic survey into SWTOR players specifically, is done. He has received sufficient information, sufficient surveys from the community of people who have completed both aspects of it, his own survey and the personality test for his research. So
Excellent.
We will get him back on sometime in the future to talk about just what results he has mined out of that. So
I can't
congratulations, Daniel. It's good news.
Yeah. I'm kind of hoping that he can do something preliminary fairly soon, and then maybe something more substantive once he's really done.
Oh,
yeah, I'm
But
kind
we'll
of
see.
excited to hear it too.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Do we know would we be able to get the results of our own personality test?
I did ask.
He
him
said
about that.
I sent him a message asking him that. He said there were some issues that he was having internally with getting those results back out to people like the MBT, whatever, the personality score.
Myers-Briggs.
Myers-Briggs type. Because I asked him where I could get that at, and he said there was some internal stuff that they were trying to work out, that if it does happen, he'll let people know, and hopefully we'll be able to get that. Because that was one thing I was interested in, and was getting that
Yeah, I was curious
personality
too.
type.
Yeah, I even took a similar but unofficial test on another one on just a sort of one of those generic sites that have sort of made their own version of the Myers-Briggs, and kind of use the same terms, but who knows if it would really be the same results. So I am curious to get sort of the real deal.
Yes, I agreed. All right, last in community, Hawk, who's currently in our chat and plays Void Invalid in Utini Rage. And remember, guys, you do have that space in your character name these days, so you can come up with all kinds of limited only by your imagination, really. Void Invalid is kind of cool. Anyway, he runs the SWTOR Players Club on Facebook. Now, this group has over 1,500 members, so they've been around for a while, and they're currently hosting a Which Planet Do You Like Better tournament. And the winners are decided by membership votes from their 1,500 members. And the last competition they had was who was the best character in SWTOR. And apparently Satil Shan and Master Orcus won.
Huh.
Well, can't argue with Satil, that's for sure. He says they've got a great community and would love people to check them out. I will include a link to them in our show notes, but of course, if you just search on Facebook for the SWTOR Players Club, you should be able to find them pretty easily. So, nice work, mate. And that's the news.
All right, that'll bring us to the Academy, and this week, Swotorista gives advice on how to find a good guild.
Brilliant.
Thank you, Swotorista. That'll bring us to the Force Feedback, where we read out your tweets and emails. And we'll start out with Nathan, a.k.a. Nepthan, former GM of Old Republic Dads and host of Old Republic Radio. Nathan writes, I listened to last week's episode. They still haven't alphabetized the guild member names when passing out ship keys? Ah!
Sums it up so well. If there was one quality of life enhancement I would request, that would be it.
Let's see, Locked on Target show. There's going to be a link to their YouTube channel. I hope Rogue One doesn't focus on the Force. I always find the stories not involved around the Force, bounty hunters, clones, troopers, defecting stormtroopers, Imperial Guards, and so on, to be just as interesting or even more interesting than the core Jedi stories.
We've talked
Fair
about
enough.
this previously, and yeah, we agree. Star Wars is a huge living universe, and while the Force is very important, at least in the current era, or the era of the movies, it isn't that much of a thing. I mean, it's coming back, obviously, with Luke, etc., but there's a whole lot more stuff out there and movies about that. Why not?
Right. Well, for me, the two trilogies that I've always enjoyed the best are the Bane trilogy and the Han Solo trilogy. So it's like one fully immersed in the Force and one hardly touches the Force at all.
Yeah.
So they can both be excellent. So ultimately I just want the story to be good, and if they get that right, then everything else will fall into place. Kranatoko writes in, I am incredibly pleased at the latest changes coming to the pack opening. Hey. Well, we were wondering about Kranatoko, weren't we? It almost feels like they made this just for me, although obviously this is not the case. Well. It should make things feel cleaner and sleeker for me in my pack opening videos. I wonder if you'll be able to buy space with cartel coins. Buy stuff, more space, just so you can buy stuff, more packs. And let's see, and then there's a couple of screenshots, not from SWTOR though. And this is not from Kranatoko, is it?
It is from Charlie, yeah.
Oh, okay, and this is so continuing from Kranatoko, he also has some screenshots, and he writes, that weird moment, and this is not from SWTOR, but other screenshots, that weird moment when Kira, Selena, and Theron, Bruce, are having a lovely chat. Okay, so he's making a connection between Batman and SWTOR.
Yeah. So what's Batman? That's a Telltale game? Is that a mobile game? Those graphics look pretty crap.
Well, I think it's supposed to be cel shaded,
Yeah.
so it looks like a comic book.
Yeah.
Batman the Telltale
looks like.
series is an episodic point-and-click graphic adventure video game developed and published by Telltale Games. Anyone played
Very
that?
nice.
Batman the
No.
Telltale Stories?
Yeah.
There you go. And apparently they're using the same voice actors as Kira as Selena, and Theron Shan as Bruce.
Oh,
Wayne,
is that
presumably.
why he's drawing that connection? Okay.
Mhm.
Cool. All right.
Very cool.
So it's not story related. It's actually
Oh, no.
voice actor related. That actually makes me want to play the game a little bit more.
It would
Just
be kind of weird though to hear a couple of familiar voices in that context. But
Yeah, I love hearing the voices and recognizing them. It happened in my stream this week. The same gal who does Asajj Ventress, and then in the Bounty Hunter story does Lady of Pain, also does one in the Inquisitor storyline that you meet along the way. It's part of the sort of the House Rist Alderaan story.
Yeah, there's a lot of anime voice actors too that I've noticed around in game and stuff like that. Spike from Cowboy Bebop, the guy that does his voice, his name eludes me. He actually does a couple of different voices in game, and he has a very distinct voice, and no matter where you go, if you hear that off of one of the characters, you're like, I knew who that is. And so there's a lot of ones you hear in game that are from anime.
That's
Voice
cool.
actors, they get around,
They do. They certainly do. And they're needed.
About Kranatoko and then the pack opening, I just hope that they're able, now that they have I don't know if they can, let's say copy and paste. I know it's not that easy, but with the pack opening videos, hopefully, or pack opening UI, they can apply that to other areas of the game. Would be great. The GTN, we've been saying for a long time, since the beginning of the game, and they have updated it some, but the search features and stuff in the GTN would be extremely welcomed.
Ooh,
I'm
good
wondering
point.
if you get you get a pack. It has an armor set. The armor set goes into the new one, the one that's not bound or anything yet.
Mm-hmm.
Can you open it up to preview the items, or do you have to pull them out and put them in your inventory before you do that?
Oh, that's a good point. I
Yeah,
don't
that
know.
is a good point. I don't know about that.
If it's still
I
in the
don't know.
box, you mean? Can you actually?
Yeah, exactly.
preview it?
Can you test open it to see what's in there before you actually pull it into
If
your
you
inventory?
can't, that's something they should certainly add. I guess we'll find out next week.
Well, I know now
That's a
if
good
you
question.
open, so when you
Yeah.
get the armor set box, it has a timer on it, and
Yep.
then when you open it, all the pieces inside have a timer on it, and it's still not
Yes.
bound. So I don't know how they're gonna.
I don't know how they're
probably do
gonna.
that.
Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna do that.
It's certainly technically possible, but whether they allow it or not is the question.
And I think
Right.
they probably will expand the space. Normally, they like to play on the conservative side a little bit when they put something out like the strongholds. Here we're
Yeah.
going to give you 4, and now they've realized that they can't handle 5, and they gave us 5 back. So I think maybe in the future they'll probably up that 250 unique items. I mean, that's 250 unique items is a lot. Because everything's going to stack on top of each other. So if you have multiple of the same mount, they're all going to stack. So it's not going to take up those 250 slots.
Right. Okay, Johnny, born to eat bacon, writes in saying, does Jakaro wearing C2D4 on his chest remind anyone else of Tweaky and Dr. Theopolis. Just me? And then he has a screenshot from the old Buck Rogers TV show.
Yes, and no, it's not just you. That was the first thing I thought of when I saw Takara with C2D4 on his chest. Now, if you've never seen Buck Rogers...
Is that Gary Coleman with him?
Yeah.
From Different Strokes?
It does sort of look like him, doesn't it?
I think it is.
It is.
Yeah, it's got to be him, doesn't it?
So
Twinkie
is it's a droid, basically a robot, and he didn't actually say much besides, beady, 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 what's up?
Beady, beady,
that
beady,
kind of thing.
right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a smarter computer around his chest, which was Dr. Theopolis. And, well, the parallel is obvious, isn't it?
Yes.
Wow. This all seems like it's way before my time.
It
so
was.
I have no idea.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty much before our time,
Yeah.
more or less. So.
Yeah, this is a 70s TV show.
Yeah.
Maybe even late 60s, I can't remember. Anyway, really old.
Yeah.
I think it was 70s, though.
It's a great costume, though.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
I'm thinking 70s because I'm remembering the lead woman had like the Farrah Fawcett hair. All right.
Yeah, that makes sense. And everyone in the future wore shiny jumpsuits.
Yes. Well, that's been happening since the 1950s. So.
Yeah,
Alrighty. Anyway, that is pretty funny though. All right, Pyrochenko of the Harbinger writes, "Hello, TeenyCast. I was just writing to provide some feedback on Kuze's comments in episode 271, which Kuze probably doesn't remember."
No, I remember.
First,
what? There was a 271? Oh, okay. That was
First of all, Kuze is mistaken about the collector's edition crystals, at least partially. Years ago, patch 1.1.5 in March 2012, they introduced a fleet vendor to whom collector edition owners could go and purchase plus 41 versions of the black and yellow CE crystals in whichever the 4 stats they chose. Shortly thereafter, they introduced a vendor on the capital planets in the GTN section that would do the same for owner of the SWTOR branded Razor peripherals and the special black-green color crystal they had. Now, it's true that the Razor crystal vendor got accidentally deleted in Game Update 4.0, which is the Kotvi expansion,
Oops.
but has been restored to a new location on the fleet since 4.2 in March.
Huh.
Thank you. Did
you
not
go.
know
Oh.
that. I never had the Razor gadgets.
I have one of those. I have
There you go.
the SWTOR mouse. It's like the Naga, Razer Naga. Is that
I think
what we call
is,
it?
yeah.
But it's like it's also
But it
SWTOR.
has
And whenever you
SWTOR.
make whenever you make a light side dark side choice, it glows blue or red. It's super cool.
Does it? That is
Yeah.
cool. I had no idea.
Like the little
I haven't seen them
integrate
used
that.
in that way, so I wouldn't have seen the light side dark side choice.
I
But I
have
did see
no
them
idea.
when I went to Austin to BioWare. They had some of the computers did have the SWTOR peripherals.
So I did read
It's
this earlier
cool.
today. And I thought about it, and after reading, I was like, "Oh God, I can't believe I forgot about that." So we'll go in stages. With the vendor, I went back today and I looked at it. Now he is correct. You can go back and you can buy the higher end stats of those color crystal types.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing, when I went back today, I looked at it. The thing that really got to me was they're selling them for 250,000 cartel coins for each
Cartel
color
coins or
type.
credits? Credits, right?
Sorry, credits. 250,000 credits. So here is a thank you for buying my deluxe edition and being an early subscriber or early pre-order
Pre-order subscriber, right?
subscriber, whatever. Now give me 250,000 credits, and they're buying on pickup. So it's not like I'm going to buy a whole bunch and then go sell them on the GTN. So the original one is in there for like 1 credit or 0 credits or something. I forgot what it was. But the higher end stats are at 250,000. It
Right.
just seems.
I think I think that was just because the vendor at the time, it was available right from the beginning, pretty much, and at that point, you kind of there were people who are still using some of the lower end crystals. It doesn't really happen anymore, partly because well, for a bunch of reasons. Basically, no one bothers anymore because the 41s are actually available now.
Mm-hmm.
Basically,
Yeah,
as
but
soon
I
as you
totally
get
forgot that
one,
vendor was
you
there.
get as soon as you get a cheap one on the GTN or out of a pack or something, then you're pretty much good to go. You just unlock them and you can have
Right.
them on every character. So, all right, so let's see. Second of all, the only players, so going back to the email, second of all, the only players that have the obsolete craftable low-stat versions of the color crystals are artificers from before Kotfi, so technically from before patch 4.1. They also don't clutter up the window anymore because they've been moved to the archive section. So any new artificer will only unlock plus 41 stat color schematics. They'll never actually have to deal with the low-stat versions, and veteran artificers will have to deliberately search for those obsolete schematics. His alternative, to add essentially a mod to a mod, seems like unnecessarily complex change to the itemization of the game that solves a problem that doesn't actually exist. Star Wars Galaxies taught that lesson all too well in terms of database requirements, and the developers of SWTOR had to make the many changes over the years, the most recent of which is the contraction of stats we saw in Game 4.0 to achieve similar goals. In other words, he's talking about mastery. A very fortunate side effect of their stat simplification was the fact that random loot drops would now work regardless of base class. No more cunning assault cannons, for example. Yes. And also, basically, as long as you can wear the item, you're pretty much good to go. Now, it doesn't, it doesn't even matter what it looks like because because you just use a different outfit on the outfit designer. However, there's so many other changes to crafting and itemization as well, including removal of the prefix system and in the reverse engineering. Teal calls it dumbing down the game, and in many conversations I've said the exact same thing, but the writing was on the wall years ago that they needed the simplification to fix their database issues. The irony is that while some people say they want a complex crafting system, a la Star Wars Galaxies, they also say that the window is too cluttered or there are too many things they can make and not enough of it sells. I miss that deep crafting.
I never thought about that in terms of the database issues being the reason that they simplified it. I thought it was all about the user experience. Interesting.
Yeah.
That would be an unintended side effect to actually fix it. Well, maybe an intended side effect.
I think that's what we had mentioned a long time ago. Now that he's jogging my memory of all this, was that's what they wanted to do when 4.0 came out. I mean, after 4.0, you think if I wasn't on such a long hiatus, I'd probably remember all of this. But I do remember them saying that it was going to be easier for them in the future to manage the crafting by doing that cleanup that they had done. But I'll let you finish before I say anything else.
Okay. Next paragraph. I miss that deep I'm gonna start again. I miss that deep crafting system too, but that kind of complexity won't work in SWTOR because of the nature of weapons in the game and the fact that the best gear, or at least their mods, comes from the hardest tiers of operations. Crafting in this game does not contribute to the economy the way it did in Star Wars Galaxies. Crafting in this game is mostly limited to the leveling experience, consumables, and customization, although orange armor and weapon shells, through orange armor and weapon shells, dye modules, and color crystals. Consumables remain the one market that has no direct competition. The low-level crafted stuff can be rendered obsolete pretty easily with the current leveling experience, especially in light of heroics. Boy, that's really true. I've noticed, I'm leveling. When I fall behind, I do like one flashpoint, not even a heroic, just a flashpoint, and the gear it gives me is like really crazy strong.
Yeah, I think before
for
Shadow
my level.
Redmond, no, it wasn't before Shadow Redmond. I forgot which one I was on the show, and I made the argument that the crafting system was pretty much useless. And we had a couple people email and counter, which is fine, but to me, it's still, it's most of it is, especially with the leveling experience. When they changed all the planetary comms and stuff like that around to where you could obtain the gear a lot easier, there was no purpose necessarily to go back because that gear comes with stats. There was no need to craft the lower end stuff anymore, for at least for gear wise and things.
In fact, I don't think I've crafted anything since Kotfi has dropped. So
same as you can tell.
Yeah. And I cheered when they finally introduced low-level craftable relics, and then I laughed and cried when I realized the same relic drops come from the heroic mission lockboxes. It was a fix that came too little too late. It should have been done back when the only source of low-level relics were the crew skills and force alignment. Yeah, well, it's true. And there's even more relics available now, too. So, despite the relic issue, you'd think artificers still have it made with their plethora of dye modules and color crystals. However, even the crafted customization market suffers from the fact that it must compete directly with the cartel market and the in-game market. Not to mention that it will always lack the versatility of Bind on Legacy. Just look how largely positive the response was when they introduced the old mission reward armor sets as Legacy adaptive armor versions on the Fleet Vendor in 4.4. Only armor mechs and synth weavers from the beginning of the game who had resources and foresight to purchase the old PvP armor shells, or ones lucky enough to have reverse engineered Dreadforge gear shells, can truly offer something unique and unobtainable, and they are a species on the verge of extinction. In other words, I've pretty much given up on any kind of complex system of crafting in SWTOR. It's as much a minigame as the on-rails space shooter missions or even GSF. I'd prefer they spend the development time working on content that more people enjoy, Mr. Olin's so-called co-op content, rather than complicating a crafting system that few actually care about, even if I am one of them. Thanks for reading and love the show.
So yeah, he gave a lot of good insight, and that's kind of why we bounce these ideas off of each other and we put it out there in the community and everything else, because two heads are better than one, of course. I did think of this as I started off the last week on my drive on the way to work, and I wrote it at work and sent it in, so I really didn't check this, and for some reason I had this idea in my head, because if you open up your weapon window or your offhand window and you can see the crystal there and it's real big, for some reason I had it in my head that was actually on your character sheet, and that's where I was getting the idea from. And then Tio had said last show, why would you do an enhancement to an enhancement, which hindsight's 2020. Looking back, I do agree, why would you do an enhancement to an enhancement? The overall meaning I think that I was trying to get out with that last idea was that to get rid of stats off of the crystals and just allow us, the cartel market, just to have one color. So when you open your cartel pack in that swoopy new cartel pack opening window and you see a color crystal in there until you find out it's expertise and you don't do PvP and you're like, oh, crap, this doesn't mean anything to me. If it was just a color with no stats on it, you would be excited. Oh, that's the one I've been waiting on, instead of going to the GTN and buying whatever the highest one is at the time.
Yeah.
You still have multiple colors in your crafting window, but it's only 3, so it's really not that big of a deal. There are some old crystals from world bosses. I'd have to go back and look to see what stats and if those went up to the magenta crystals. See if they have. I think they do have a plus 41 stat to those, and how those work. I think there's a little mission you can do to go assign what stat you want to. I forgot what that is, but those are still out there too. But the main point was to get rid of the stats off of the crystals, but also I don't want them to take away the option from the players. I miss doing that mid-max stuff with the gear. I know that changing over to Mastery fixed a lot of problems, and it did cause some confusion, but I still say that confusion still had a good side to it, because there were still people that didn't know, what am I supposed to have on my gear? Am I supposed to have aim? Am I supposed to have cunning? And they didn't know what to do. So that forces them to spend some time and go Google it, go find a guide, go do this, go do that, and it gets them a little more engaged into the other side of SWTOR, the behind the scenes and stuff. That's not a really good reason to keep a system, is so you drive people to go do research, so of course they're going to update it, and it was a good change, but I just don't like them taking options away from us. So if they do remove the stats from the color crystals, it'd be nice somehow or another if they could just, I don't know, give it to us another way, or give us another way to customize our gear, basically to min-max our gear.
Okay, Teal, were there any other notes in chat that you saw or anything that we need to discuss?
I don't think so. That should pretty much do it.
Okay.
Unless there's anything else we want to talk about?
No, I did have one question that I thought about earlier with the release of Coffee. Was they had a really big drive on subs when Coffee came out. Coffee. So I'm wondering how it would differ with the previous releases, the previous expansions, if they had that same drive. Let's say when Shadow of Revan came out, if they're like, oh, if you sub this month, and maybe they did have something, but it wasn't.
Yeah, they did.
Go ahead.
They had the 12 times XP, so if you subscribe, you get 12 times XP. That was their
that was
incentive.
leading up to it, though. But after, did they have anything?
No.
It wasn't as prominent as this expansion has been with, sub this month, sub this month, sub this month, sub this month. I wonder how it would change the other expansions' income if they had done the same thing for those. SWTOR's kind of gone through a lot. They started off with subs, and then they were like going to free to play, and then they go back to, we're going to drive subs, and now we got a cartel pack window coming out, so now we want you to buy cartel packs. I mean, it's hitting us from every angle. You need to sub by this month. Here's a new pack opening window. So they're just hitting us from both sides.
As far as we know, they're still focused on subs, as well as obviously the cartel market experience. So as I
you
predicted
can't-
earlier, there will be some kind of incentive to stay subscribed all the way through to Codfee's release.
I would believe so too.
Kotet's release.
Right.
All right, let's wrap it.
Okay, then that's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Harbinger server, or in our Guild on the Empire side, do a /c join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to utinicast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @utinicast. You can find contact details for all of us on our website, utinicast.com, which includes how to subscribe to us using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Go to utinicast.com/live to find out how to join in. Our theme song is Doomsday by Jean-Paul Zogby. Thank you to the chat room, and thank you to our guests, Kuze and Alex.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And we'll see you
Enjoy
next
the
week.
Utini Rage.
All right, guys, keep recording. Everyone, thank you for watching. We'll be back next Thursday, or Friday, as the case may be. Thursday. And, yeah, and obviously the live stream will be in the afternoon of that day, which is 6 a.m. for me or something insane. So we'll be up and watch it ahead of the show. So that is what we'll be talking about, as well as our experiences with Chapter 16. Assuming they don't delay it again, which they probably won't.
Oh,
So,
man.
Have a good week, guys, and we will talk to you, in a week. May the force be with you.
Spock.
The cartel coin.